Welcome into the Voice of College Football post-game show with yours truly, George Georgitis from the Renegade Report right here on YouTube, Twitter, all the sites. Boy, howdy. This is going to be a tough one to do. We got an hour to fill. We're going to answer all the questions in the comments, have fun with you guys. As we sit here and watch SMU just kind of bleed the clock, matriculating down the field as they go for it on 4th and 14 and turn it over. Looks like Brock will get one more drive here, maybe from Florida State's 35. Boy, howdy. Boy, howdy, folks. I guess we can start with the first half. If Brock does something, we'll talk about it. But this game was lost in the first half. It was lost in the first half. I'll have to go back and watch the tape. I don't know if everybody legitimately quit and shut down. But when you scored again, it's 29-18. You got a chain of events where you get a phantom face max call after you go 3 and out. I don't know who 29 is. I'd ever seen it. It was like a glancing blow to a face mask. The guy told Mike that he tackled him by it. But that's so late. But that seems like that was the point when it looked like the defense, everybody kind of shut down. That's really different. That's really, 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 it's really difficult as a fan to sit here and watch this because you feel like maybe the players are starting to lose faith in the coaching staff after that first half. And I hope that's not true. But that first half was really, really tough to watch. I've been as hard on DJU as anyone. Been pretty hard on DJU. But I'll give a hand to DJU. He made some bad plays. He threw 3 picks in this game. But in that first half, they were having so much success running the ball with Toafili, running that RPO slant. They hit Morlock on the slot one, or on the down the seam one time on that RPO as a second read. Doing so many good things, big plays, and then you've had all this momentum, all these things going on. You've got a chance to tie it and then get the ball right back after the half. And you throw it on first down, don't get anything. Then you run it with Toafili on second down, and he gets you 6 yards down to the 4. And then you run you run speed option, quarterback off tackle with Lawrence Toafili, whatever you want to call that play, as the lead blocker on 3rd and 2. On 3rd and 2, Toafili whiffs on the block, or he takes an inside track, and DJU isn't fast enough to keep up. Whatever the case may be, he's short. But kind of the issue we've had with DJ all year, and one of the problems in this offense, is his lack of mobility. And he is just not an effective runner at this point in time in his career. He looks like he's stuck in the mud. But, it's not his fault. That's who he is. That's what he's shown consistently. I don't know what's happening in practice because I ain't there. But apparently he's out running linebackers and running people over in practice. But again, this isn't on DJU. I feel like he was just put in a terrible position. So you run with him on 3rd and 2nd, get stuffed, and then you go for it on 4th and goal, and you run. I don't know if it was the same exact play, but very similar, same thing with DJU. Now, every time you put him under center and did a QB sneak this year, you've got 2 yards. Every time I've seen it happen if they got the snap off. So if you knew you were in 4-down territory and you were going to run it with the quarterback twice, why didn't you put him under center and QB sneak it both times? Why does Toafili average 5 yards per carry on this entire year? Ups and downs of these teams, bad performance. He has consistently grabbed the rock and took it 5 yards down the field. Literally on 2nd down after you screwed up on 1st down, he took it and ran 5 yards down the field. Well, Toafili doesn't get the ball. He's the lead blocker. You have your best runner on the entire team lead blocking for the worst runner on your entire team 2 plays in a row on the effing goal line. And this guy Toafili is a tailback because supposedly you got to split it up. and he can't be running back number one. He's got to be the tailback. He can't get the carries. But you got him lead blocking on goal line? You think he's going to be better than your left freaking tackle? And so people want to put it on Toafili because he missed a block. I made a joke and said, well, he's probably pissed off because he didn't get the ball. And then I was told, like, yeah, well, that's sorry, and if that's true. And yeah, they were right. And I was like, well, he didn't say that. That's just me making a joke in the group chat. But, I mean, if I'm Toafili, I'm fuming. I don't understand. I've lost all faith in the coaching staff if I'm Toafili. He goes out there and makes plays. Every single play. If he doesn't get a positive play, he jams that thing in the line of scrimmage and gets stuck. So why every time it comes to a critical third down, goal line, are we running DJU or throwing it to DJ Morlock? That's another one. Morlock, oh my goodness. I mentioned he made that play in the seam, but that was it. That was another turning point. And that's why I say we lost this game in the first half. Because you come out there in the second half, DJU opens up with a beautiful pass, tipped, game over. At that point, like we told you guys, when you watched SMU last week, when they put up 66 against TCU, well, they only put up like 35 points on offense. They had 3 offensive touchdowns or 3 defensive touchdowns and special team touchdowns. And that's what happened when this game was close together in the first half. The defense was playing. They were making stops. They were giving us every opportunity. We were driving down there. But again, you give up a pick six. You give up a turnover inside your 10-yard line. They score on that. I believe they had 3 scores off turnovers. That was the big thing coming in. And they capitalized on everyone. It's tough. I'm not putting this whole game on DJU. You can't. I don't understand why can't you stick with what works? I don't understand the thing with Toafili. And I hate to keep going back to it, but he didn't touch the ball the first 2 games. First 3 games. And in the 4th game, he has 17 carries for 80 yards. He's 5 yards per carry on the year. You come in this game and he's running it just as well. You've got Cam in there battening down the hatches. And again, in that first half when we had all those opportunities, it's because they were sticking with the run. And even if it didn't go for a big play, you got guys wide open in the middle and behind the safety. But we get silly. We try to do all these things. I don't know, guys. It's so hard because there's 3rd and Fuller is another thing. I get it. People pissed about it. I don't get it. I don't get why the play calling, what it is that teams are able to find. I think a lot of times on those, they're getting the defensive line isn't set and ready to go. Seems like when our defensive line is there and set and ready to go, they're making plays. They're attacking. But there were times tonight when the defensive line was trying to figure out where they're supposed to be lined up, and you got guys switching around, and the ball gets snapped. A lot of that happening. Timeouts having to be called on simple plays. We had a QB sneak for a first down, had to call a timeout. It's just really bad. It's bad all over. But this coaching staff has to. I don't know what they got to do, but Mike, man. Those play calls on the goal line, man. I don't know. I don't understand it. Brock's in there with a bunch of freaking backups. If I was in, you can't judge Brock of anything you see right now. That's my personal opinion on that. If you put TJU in this situation, off the bench with the backups in garbage time, oh my God. And don't get me wrong, to go back to what I said at the beginning, it's easy to harp on DJU because obviously Mike, it's you can look at, we missed on this guy. How come we didn't even offer this guy? And look how he's balling out over here. Yeah, we picked the wrong one. We picked Ryan Leaf, to use an NFL comparison. But I don't know if any of those other guys, how much they would have been. This offensive play calling, man, it's crazy. People are asking, what happened to the Mike we used to know? Did Jordan Travis ruin Mike? Because, like, we called those same plays, those quarterback runs, but we had Jordan Travis last year. And if you remember, they weren't easy. Not like Jordan Travis was walking in on those. He was making plays because he was a beast. The offensive line, like, pretty well, like, they give time. They can do pretty good, but then Maurice snaps it in the dirt, and then there's a false start, and it's just self-inflicted wounds on top of self-inflicted wounds on top of self-inflicted wounds, and there's only so much of that you can do before the defense is going to give up plays. And I get people are pissed. The defense sucks too, and this and that. And it's not a championship defense. It's not a great defense. But this is a defense that you could win. You could have won every single one of these games. You could have won this game. This is a team. SMU is a team you cannot get behind like this. Like, there's just, you played the offense, like the offensive linemen, the running backs, even DJU. Like, what we saw in the first half, to me, was like a step forward. There was mistakes. It still didn't, go right. You had all these drops. Jaylen Brown dropped it twice. You had, of course, the Morlock drop later on. That was a turnover. But you got down to the goal line. You got down here. You got down there. And it seemed like the coaches, man, I'll have to watch the replay. But live, this coaching, man, oh man, it was tough. Shout out to number 9. I'll have to rewatch the tape. Omar Graham Jr. He's taken a lot of heat this year. I seen him make a couple plays tonight. Defense on one of the big plays of the game to try to keep the game close. You end up getting Blake one-on-one with their big tight end. I get it. You brought the jumbo set out. I would have went with one less D lineman and figured out how to have somebody to cover that guy, number 82. But they didn't, and they know a lot more about coaching than me. It's hard for me to sit here and hammer Adam Fuller's defense, and I get it. And it's a good criticism I get from my co-hosts and stuff. It's like, it's not just DJU, it's not just this. The defense is bad too. This is bad too, and I get all that. But we've seen it. We've seen it when Browse was here. We've seen it in the Taggart days. I'm not going to sit here and say it's worse than the Taggart days, but this feels a lot like 2018 when you've got Browse and you can't stay on the field, and the defense. I can't even remember what the defense was that year, but you can't get anything going. You can't just keep getting put on the field, and okay, you just made a stop in the red zone. Oh, you just blocked the field goal. Here you go. I know you just came off the field, but here now, stop them from the 9. This defense, it is what it is. Take it or leave it. If you don't like the bend, don't break style that Adam Fuller plays, like, get rid of him. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, you've given yourself an opportunity. In today's college football, you're not going to hold people to 9 points. We talked about a lot. 20 points, 20 to 28 points is pretty much, you have a good defensive effort. That's something like what you're going to give up against this SMU team. They've got some playmakers. They've got a running quarterback, all these things. But yeah, the offense is tough, man. I don't understand the red zone calls. And then, like, again, in the first half, they got a lot of things right. They figured something out with DJU and getting comfortable and releasing the ball. But then you have guys making drops on top of it. And that's why I'm trying really hard not to hammer on DJ, because I feel like in this game, DJ gave us, like, everything what they're working on, the reason they've stuck with him this long. Like, he's approaching, he's getting closer and closer to, like, what you kind of imagined in a DJU. But every time he gets rhythm, the coaching staff takes him right out of it. The coaching staff puts him in a position that, boom, and it's like, man, you just keep throwing shit against the wall, keep doing the same exact thing like it's going to change. They finally put Landon Thomas in. DJU airmailed. He was open in the end zone earlier, and DJU airmailed it. After they benched Morlock, then Amari Williams came in. He had a drop. I think Landon Thomas had a holding earlier in the game. They both had a couple mistakes, But Landon Thomas made a mistake and then turned around and caught a touchdown and made an athletic play at tight end that we haven't seen in a long time. So moving forward, I mean, what you just can't put Morlock out there. How we let Biscuit walk and somehow kept Morlock. Boy, I've got a Florida friend who, like, I went back and forth over Morlock when Napier. They didn't offer him a scholarship. They said he could come on as a walk-on, and I thought, man, as sorry as y'all are, like, y'all can't use a tight end. I thought it was crazy that they just let him let us pick him up when they had ties there. They just didn't even offer him a scholarship. But looking back on it, looks like Napier and those Florida fans were right. Not that they're any better than we are; they still suck. But I don't know. At least they got a quarterback. If we don't figure something out on offense by the time we play Florida, if they put the young guy in, I could see us either one. I don't know. There's this thing right now in college football. Pretty much anybody can be beat. There is no just walking away, going away. Well, that's how FSU is. Like, we can lose to anybody. We could literally lose to anybody. We could beat a lot of teams. Like, we could beat a ranked team. We could put it together. But we could also lose every single one of them. I guess that's what makes it so frustrating. Just like in 2018 when you had, Tamorion Terry, you have Cam Akers, you have all these beasts that you see, Kalen LeBourne in 2017. Like, if they could just break free, like, man, these are some of the best players in the country. You've got better players than almost everybody you play, but you can't block and you can't get it to them. You can't do the bare minimums of college football. And what hurts so bad is you did it. Like, you did it. Like, how? It's so obvious. And again, being a coach quarterback here, a couch quarterback, I didn't play in the NFL. I didn't play college football. But you see it. On the play that Landon Thomas scored, right before that, they had like a 16-yard run from Toafili. Come back. Okay, we run it on first down. It got stuffed. But the safeties and linebackers are creeping up because you're getting back to running the ball. After you went down 2 scores, settle down. Let's just go for, everybody calm down. We have a chance. We got a quarter and a half. And you drive down, you score a touchdown. Yeah. So why do you go away from it? Why do you all of a sudden get a set of downs and you pass it 3 times and don't run it? Why do you all of a sudden get your first chance in the red zone and you run 2 quarterback run plays? Not quarterback sneaks. Quarterback run, speed option, off tackle, quarterback power. Like, answer me if I'm wrong, chat. Is Lawrence Toafili not far and away the best player on this offense, and it's not even close? Is he up to 6 yards a carry now? How does Toafili not get a ball on the goal line? A toss, a fake, something. How is he lead blocking for DJU? So that's what I keep going back to, is the coaching in this particular game. But, obviously, Morlock, you got to sit him. You got to start the young guys. It's time for the youth movement. This isn't the game to me that you bench DJ. Like, we've been talking about that conversation about Brock, but I don't know. At what point do you give him a chance to play early in a game? Give him a shot? I don't know. But if Mike can't wrap his head around coaching DJU like he needs to be coached, how he was coached in that first half until you got into the freaking red zone, if he can't make himself do that, then put in somebody else that can do it. And seeing the plays that he called for Brock Glenn, these crazy 7-step drops and him being way back there looking deep down the field when he came in, doesn't inspire any confidence that he can. Like, I don't get it, man. It's hard. It's hard to defend this stuff. Seat's getting warm. I can tell you that. They're not going to fire him. We've said that all along. They're not going to fire him this year, probably not even next year. But this whole thing of Mike Norvell calling the plays at Florida State, I think that's over. He doesn't need to call another play at Florida State. I love Mike. I've been a big fan. He's been growing as a head coach. I think when you lose a leader like Jordan Travis that you poured into for 4 years to get him to the level he was, the leader he was on the field, how many dribbles between his legs, how many all-out rushes that he, juked 18 people and ran it for a touchdown. Like, all that stuff is not something that's able to happen with DJU. You have to run the football and stay on schedule. You can't have him 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10 in these situations where they're dropping 8 or rushing 10. So that was one point when I was a little pissed at DJU. Again, I want to focus on, I think DJU did the best he could under his coaching in this game, but there was one play, and it's my biggest problem with DJU this year. There's 10 guys in the box and one guy at linebacker depth. 10 guys in the box, one in linebacker depth. I can't remember what our formation was, but I'm pretty sure we had at least 3 wide receivers. He takes the snap and just drops 2-step drop, plants, and starts going through his reads. It's an all-out blitz. And then he runs back and gets sacked for a loss, big loss. The only thing you can't take you out, mess up your field position. That's day one stuff. They sent to 10 people. There's nobody covering the wide receivers. They're all open. Throw it to any of them. And to the point, earlier in the game, that's exactly what they were doing with those RPO reads. He was very comfortable with it. He could see it clearly. He could make that RPO read and hit it. But whenever it's an all-out pressure or any kind of hot blitz, or he's got somebody that he knows is unaccounted for, he is not capable of throwing it where that corner is blitzing it from. Or I don't know if he gets confused or whatever the case may be. But again, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hammer on DJU because, again, I think this game really reflected that maybe we have been tough on DJU. Maybe he just got some god-awful coaching, because it's tough, man. You've got seniors all the way across the offensive line, defensive line, tight ends, and this offense is putrid. Putrid. And you won't give the star of the damn thing the ball. You won't give it to 9. 9 only gets the ball between the 20s. He gets you to the end zone, and then he's done. He draws all the linebackers and safeties in, and then you throw him on the bench. I hope Cam Davis isn't hurt. I didn't see him much late in the game, and he was running really good. He was a big part of that running game in the first half that kept FSU on schedule and in this game. When they stopped doing that, when they got crazy and started getting behind the chains and having all the penalties and things of that nature, when you get back to 2nd and 17, 3rd and 17, you can't run it. But why are you putting your quarterback in a position to be taking these drops and to be running around at depth to get sacked for an 8-yard loss? Those plays shouldn't even be in. It is what it is. I disagree with people hating on Cam in the comments. He's just super young. He doesn't quite have that wiggle yet, but he is definitely a good power runner, and he falls forward with good balance. J Money says, run Toafili Wildcat. I've been talking about this since after the first game that you lost by 3 points. The Wildcat was a weapon with Toafili all season last year, in the red zone, everywhere. Between the 20s, you play in the ACC championship, Toafili was the MVP of the game. He took as many snaps as quarterback as Brock Lane did. I may be talking out of my ass there, but he did. He took a ton of snaps at Wildcat and made plays. What Lawrence Toafili has is that just senior. The game is slowed down for him compared to everybody on this offense, and it's not close. He is able to see where the blocks are going to go and be patient and run where the yards are consistently over and over and over again. And what you need on the goal line when it's 2 teams in jumbo sets is you either need to get under center and take your ass straight downhill. You need an athletic quarterback who can do what they try to do, which DJU is not. Or you need a running back that can Le'Veon Bell it. And okay, where it's designed is no good. But guess what? I'm patient. I can bounce it outside. Or I can scrape down the line and find another gap. And that's what Toafili does great. And then you don't even give him the ball at all. Like, find a creative way to get him the ball. Toss it to him. Something. I just put him in the Wildcat. You're never going to get those 2 snaps back. But holy shit. It's just crazy. Incompletion. Stuff. 3 DJU plays, 1 for Toafili. DJU goes backwards. Toafili goes forward 6 yards. Key drops, key penalties, key blown blocks. Yeah. The drops, man. And that's why I'm trying to be easy on DJU, because he had some rhythm going. I feel like the coaching staff pulled DJU out of his rhythm. And then in the second half, it was the drops. Lack of confidence from the wide receivers and the tight ends. Kyle Morlock has bricks for hands, dude. He has bricks for hands. To see that, you're hoping you can get some things together, get it going, and to see that happen, for DJU to hit him perfect, right in his hands and stride. I mean, he didn't throw it on the wrong side. He didn't throw it high. He didn't throw it low. I mean, Morlock turns in his route, and the ball it's picture perfect. It's 2-hand touch in the park with your friends when you're a little kid, and you finally get to catch the ball over the shoulder that first time. That's what it was, perfect. And it's like, it's crazy the way he tries to catch. He tries to trap it in his chest. It's tough, but we don't have time to figure those yips out. It's time for Landon Thomas, and it's time for Amari Williams. Period. End of story. This team has the potential with the defense it has and what the offense can do when it puts together to win several games the rest of this year. But they've got the potential to lose them all. They have got the potential to lose them all. People talking about Trevor Jackson. Why isn't he getting playing time? It's tough. He's a true freshman. I'd love to see a package. If you're on the goal line and you're going to run the damn quarterback twice. I can't get away from this, guys. You're running the quarterback because you got an extra blocker. So why wouldn't you put a quarterback? If you're not going to play action, if you're not going to toss, it's not going to be an RPO, if it's not going to be an actual option, if it's just going to be him running behind some blockers, why wouldn't you put Trevor Jackson in there? Why wouldn't you put Luke Crum, Brock Glenn? Any quarterback on this roster is better than him. So why are you forcing him to do that? Why not run it on 3rd down and then play action on 4th down? Why not a toss? Why not anything, man? Anything. I guess if DJU scores on that, we never have this conversation, but I don't think I'm the only one alone. I think I've seen just about every single person from FSU or that I follow on Twitter saying the same thing about that. To see that and see the just, it's like the defense just took a knife to the gut after that pick, and then to turn around, and the defense hasn't quit yet. They're still in it. They get a 3 and out, and then you get that face mask penalty, and it was just like, that's it. Tiny had said something in the chat. It's a quote. I can't remember where exactly it came from, but like, attitude reflects leadership, I think is what it is. Attitude reflects leadership. This was on the coaches to me, man. These coaches got to figure out the pulse of this team. They got to figure out who can do what on this team, because I'm done. It doesn't matter what's happening in practice. Morlock can't catch. DJU can't run. So can we stop throwing it to Morlock and stop running DJU, please? Is that too much to ask? folks asking about how Brockgren looked. He got 2 drives with the backups in garbage time. It didn't look very good. But from what I saw, I didn't really like what Mike had for him. He had him dropping back and doing all these passes and things that I just see all these other teams making it simple for these young quarterbacks. And I don't know. Yeah, DJU is probably the best option on this team after what we saw for what this coaching staff is. They're not going to Lamar Jackson it. They're not going to build an offense around one of these young guys and make a run. I thought that was the Jordan Travis offense. I think this is a big thing with Mike Norvell and who we thought he was. I thought the last 2 years we were seeing, and it was a big talking point on the show. We all thought we saw the Jordan Travis version of the Mike Norvell offense because Jordan Travis, guys, he's no Lamar Jackson, but he's somewhere between Lamar Jackson and give me another running quarterback. He's up there. He had a chance for a Heisman if things would have went his way. So obviously we thought it was a little different. When you look at the tape of Memphis, it's not quite so much of all the running and things. But it sure seems like same exact offense as last year. You're trying to plug somebody in it that can't do it. I don't know. Is the offensive line really that bad? Or it just seems like they worked all week in practice in the first quarter, second quarter, like you see it. You see guys wanting to do right, not make mistakes, and then it's just a snowball effect. Once bad call, like 5 calls from the coaching staff, that's bad, 5 drops, and then all of a sudden it's all gone. Everybody goes back in a shell. Everybody goes in a shell, man. It's tough. I clicked on this. I don't think I read it earlier, but my guy Encyclopedia with the $2 super chat. Keep the faith, George. FSU will bounce back in 2025. I hope so. Let's go back to that. Let's talk about because this is another thing. Jen mentioned this in the group chat. I thought it was supposed to get better now that Alex Atkins was back. To a certain degree, I think it did. And we can talk about this, but I think the good stuff, like all those plays over the middle, the RPO stuff, the different blocking and running game stuff, we didn't see any of that shit before Atkins got back. So I think that's all Atkins. I think when you get to the goal line, I think Mike Norvell just takes over and thinks he's Billy Badass and he's calling the plays. I've seen a few times where Atkins is over there with Mike, pointing and doing this number, shaking his head, I don't know. It was right after an offensive line penalty, so I don't know if it was, him just saying, oh, this or that, but it's not working right now with Mike calling plays. Double Boy says, ain't no portal classes coming to save us. I disagree. Obviously not this year, not in 2024, but they could do something in the portal this year and be competitive next year. Far be it, we were wrong about this team and it's a big thing and changes are coming. But look around the country. Georgia came back, but they were getting blown out by Alabama. I did not see that coming. Kentucky takes down number 6 Ole Miss. You're seeing it's crazy all around the country right now. You can really go from 0 to hero, or as you're seeing with Florida State, 0 to 0 in 1 year. But that isn't a program. That's 1 year. Now, we did take a bunch of young transfers. If you can take young transfers and build them up, you can somewhat supplement. But as we've talked all along, it needs to be like a 60-40, 70-30 split is what I think is healthy. Any more than that is no good. And that's what they were working towards. And again, if you can talk about recruiting and all that's fine. It's still not good enough, but it has at least gotten better. This is far and away the best freshman class we've had since we've been there. We've got some freshmen that are going to go out there and make plays, but it's still not good enough. And Like, it's inexplicable how bad the defensive line was the first 2 weeks. Like, we thought we just completely lied to and were confused about who these guys were. But all of a sudden here in week 5, it wasn't as good this week. But they've came a long ways. Like, how could you be so wrong about your team and so unprepared after an entire offseason? We did all the ACC lawsuit stuff. We talked about the snub. That's a conspiracy theory. People like to make funny quotes saying the snub ruined Mike Norvell. But that snub it had a huge impact. I think it really messed with those guys' mentality because, and you heard Mike talk about it after it happened their first month or so when they're doing interviews and stuff. Like, everything he's been selling to these recruits, the transfers, basically, not to make a mockery of religion, but like his Bible of football, in his Bible, when he opens it up, attitude reflects leadership, be where your feet are, climb. When you turn those pages, it says, win all your games, win your conference, go undefeated, and everything takes care of it. You're at Florida State. You're at the very highest level of college football in a power conference. Well, then they did all that and got left out. It makes you really start second guessing yourself. I'm wondering if they went into this season thinking, okay, we got to do this and that, and we've got to be able to put on a show. We've got to blow people out. We've got to be more exciting, do this or that, play a different brand of ball. I don't know. I don't know if, everybody talks about how much Jordan masked last year, and yeah, he did. It's just, we got to adjust. You got to stick with it. I saw the adjustments in the first half. I saw it, but they went away from it. 5 years, no development, play calling equals madman, I think he meant to say. Norvell equals hot seat, pure trash. We are the laughing stock of college football. Sad to say, sad day to be a Knoll. We are disgracing what Bowden built. Oh man, that's a tough one to read. The hot seat is like generally defined as somebody who's at risk of being fired. So I would say no, he's not on the hot seat, unfortunately. I don't know, unfortunately. I don't really want him on the hot seat. I don't know. But no, he's not on the hot seat. He gets the opportunity to hire a GM, hire an offensive coordinator, possibly make changes at defensive coordinator. There's going to be the get rid of your coaches, bring in new staff. He's going to get that opportunity. But Mike Norvell, offensive coordinator, yeah, he's on the hot seat. Mike Norvell, play caller, that seat is on fire. Flames everywhere, on fire. Everywhere. So, yeah, the play caller, Mike Norvell, it's time for him to move to a CEO role and give it a shot with an offensive coordinator who can devote his entire life to being in tune with that offense and to be able to call it. I don't know if they have a meeting or whatever and decide to hand the clipboard and give Alex Atkins a try, but there's a disconnect between the players and the people calling the plays. Now again, you go back to the Morlock drop. There's nothing Mike Norvell can do about that, and those are the ones where you see him on the sideline like it's like somebody just killed his puppy right in front of him. Jaylen Brown had 2 plays of beautiful passes that he dropped right in his hands. One on a comeback. I think they were both comebacks. Talked about the Morlock one. Amarius Williams had one late in the game. It was pretty much over at that point. But, not a ton of guys making plays. I think Hakeem Williams might have missed one earlier. I don't know why Portier doesn't get more targets. Seems like he catches everything that's thrown to him. It's tough. Ja'Kai Douglas, shout out Ja'Kai Douglas. He was his usual self in the first half. Johnny on the spot, finding the holes in the zones, taking some of those RPO slants early in the game. DJU really found some comfort there. I keep going back to that, and that's why I'm not being hard on DJ. He found some real comfort in that first half and was starting to build confidence. And then the coaching staff took it away from him. And then he comes out there and makes a beautiful throw to Morlock, and it's a pretty much a touchdown that ends the game. So it's just tough to watch, man. I love this team so much. I love Florida State football. I love talking about football. I love watching football. Um, but you're pushing towards one of the worst seasons in Florida State history. This could be the worst one. And when I say Florida State history, I'm talking about modern history. If you want to go back to the 60s or the 50s when they first became a legitimate football program, maybe they had a worse year. But as long as I've watched Florida State football, 2020, 2019, 2018, we're getting there. Jay Dirty, I have no idea what you're talking about. He says, y'all took a quarterback y'all used to beat at Clemson. Florida State never beat DJU at Clemson at all. We got blown the slap out by DJU. DJU came in our house. We played pretty well. He didn't go crazy. The defense actually kept him in check pretty much, except for the middle 8 of the game. Last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half, he freaking torched us. I think he torched us as a freshman or a sophomore as well. But no, DJU, there's all kinds of blame and issues there. But the more and more I'm watching it, I think it's less DJU and more the coaches just not being able to figure out what he's good at and put him in those situations. The pick where you roll him out to his opposite side and he's not a guy, he needs to roll out to his good side and do some stuff. But tough play. You had the corner ball that he could have thrown a little farther. They got picked off. That was a great play by the defense, but stuff like that is tough. That's a 3rd and 2. Again, 3rd and 2. Toafili's going to get you a yard every time you hand it to him. So instead of handing it to your running back or doing QB sneak or something that's guaranteed to get you 1 or 2 yards, you take a shot, which is great. But I'm one of these people that you run it on first down and then take your shot on second. Or run it 3 times in a row, hit a screen, whatever the case may be, get it first down and then take a shot. It seems like they're always taking a shot where it's like, oh, that shot puts us so far back behind the chains, now this whole drive's screwed. But let me do this. No, I can't do that. Never mind. I thought I had my phone. I don't have my phone activated. The call-in line phone finally completely died, so I had to buy a new one. And I got it just before the game. I wasn't able to get it activated in time, but we've got 17 more minutes to talk about this damn team, guys. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining again. We're right here live on the FSU Voice of College Football YouTube channel, up over 5,000 subscribers. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that button and join the party. We're also dual casted over to my channel at the Renegade Report. You see it there in my name. If you're not subbed to our channel, we could really appreciate it if you get over there, watch some of our stuff, and hit the sub. But as far as the Voice of College Football, Mark's been awesome. We also do Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, with the FSU show every week. I'm there every week. Chris Frazier, James Coleman also come through from time to time. James has been extremely busy with coaching Friday Night Football and doing the Gator Bowl and covering FSU and the Jags and everything else. And Chris as well has had a lot of stuff going on. So it's been mostly me, but you never know who's going to pop in there. Logan Robinson comes through every once in a while and does some stuff with us. So cool stuff. Definitely join us every Wednesday at 6 Eastern. And right here, after every single game, we go with the instant reaction. This is the first time I've ever started an instant reaction before the game was over. I really, I don't think you guys realize I'm a huge Florida State fan. There's a reason I started all of this stuff. Been a dream of mine to cover the team and things of that nature. But you got to call a spade a spade. I want to highlight the good things, criticize the bad things. You can say we bullshitted you, but it's like Nick Saban, yada, yada. You know the story. It was all the media. All we can go off of what we're being told by the coaching staff and the people that know football that were there. And they were all saying the same things about practice. What I think, one of the biggest things I think, and I've had the people that I've told this to, they either didn't respond or just kind of laughed it off. But I think that this team was so egregiously misevaluated that you had, when the first team is running ones against ones in practice, the starting linebackers were garbage, the starting this, the starting that, and they made the starters on offense look good. And then, okay, you run the twos out there, it's twos on twos. I think the backup linebackers, as we now know, were your best linebackers on your team. So they made the backup running backs, they made Cam, they made LT look bad. They made Brock Glenn look bad. Same thing with some of these DBs. Maybe Edwin Joseph and Quindarius Jones and these different guys, 24, have been playing with more fire at practice all along. Because I keep getting told that, you guys want the youth movement, but put them out there and see what happens. Well, they keep getting put out there, and I keep seeing what happens. I keep seeing a major increase in production across the board when they make these changes. So, the opposite to that argument as well. The coaching staff didn't do it at first; they slowly but surely did it. But dude, we all watched that first game. Omer Graham Jr. didn't make a tackle. He didn't record a stat. And Juice didn't get a snap. And they had this whole weird thing. You remember that? Oh, well, we had this for some reason. We couldn't substitute. We had to keep those guys out of there. Never got an answer on that. What was that? What was the reason we couldn't sub in our best players in that game? I got a reason on why Toafili wasn't getting the ball early on, but doesn't make sense what I heard. And, if I'm Toafili, I'm considering opting out. Has he redshirted? Could he get a redshirt year? No, it's too late. 5 games in. I feel really bad for Lawrence Toafili. Lawrence Toafili was here for all of it. All of the crap that this team had to eat climbing the hill. He was there for the ACC championship. He stepped up for his team in all the crucial moments. When you were terrible, he's the one guy against Clemson making Spider-Man plays, rolling over 80-yard touchdowns. He's wide open on all these wheel routes, and you don't throw it to him. That's part of it. They had to put him in that tailback spot, and he's going out for all these passes, but you've got a quarterback that isn't able to hit him. So you got to get your best player on offensive ball, and that's Lawrence Toafili. And yeah, I know. I keep harking on that. I don't know. I'm just being honest. I do this kind of half-ass professionally. We do 4 podcasts a week over on my channel. We're over here twice a week. I don't have many things where I run into being tongue-tied or not having anything to talk about. It's just right now that's where we're at, man. Like Tiny had again, like he said in the chat, attitude reflects leadership, and this team has just kind of like tuned out the coaching staff and all the dumb penalties. Conrad Hussey really disappointed me tonight. I am the hugest Conrad Hussey player or fan. He plays with fire. I love him. I love what his future can be. Him and 24 back there. But you saw him like when he came in. I don't know if they had him off the field or whatever, but he came in, rides a guy out of bounds, and then gives him a hard shove, freaking 6 yards out of bounds. It's like, dude. And then he got beat, was in the wrong place on a play before that. Man, it's tough. Guys, if you have any questions or if you want to, anything you're wanting to talk about, any player that you liked what they did, speak now or forever hold your peace. But it's pretty much just Lawrence Toafili from me. Hakeem Williams continues to show some promise. If he can get it together, he's just a walking NFL body type. Jakai again had a good night. Jaylen Brown, step back, man. He had a trip. That's another thing. We had 2 or 3 plays on those RPO slants to where a guy just trips or a 1 block's missed. Like there's so many plays that could have went the distance that didn't. You got the Benson play on the sideline where again DJU if he would have just thrown it inbounds, but he couldn't get it inbounds. There's so many things. It's just a bad offense, guys. This offense is really, really, really bad. Bad. This is one of. It's like in 2019, 2018. I think we still had explosive plays. This is crap offense without you don't have the explosive plays either. It's just It's tough to watch, guys. It's really, really tough to watch. I couldn't imagine in a million years this is how things would go. But you were hoping this could be a turning point. You saw that fire in the first half. You had an opportunity. We told you guys all week how this game had to go if you were to beat SMU, and it fell apart, man. I think mentally, the end of that second half, they just never came out of it. DJU comes out, makes a pretty play. The Morlock drop just ended it. That was kind of the team. They packed it in at that point. They didn't pack in the effort, but mentally they were defeated. And then it wasn't long before they packed it in, and they were just done. People starting to talk about it. They don't know if Mike Norvell can recover from this. Here's the thing. All he's got to do is win next year. So I have no doubt he could possibly recover from this. The question is, can he build a program that can be consistent year in, year out? What does the recruiting do off this year? If the recruiting tanks and you can't get one of these star-studded, if you can't get a top 10 level high school class and really bring in some of those guys, get your first choices, get the best DN, get the best this, get the best that out of the portal, as you had done the previous years, yeah, you start raising that buyout. But people start raising that buyout next year during the season. And then from 25 into 26, you'll start hearing real hot seat stuff. But yeah, I think we're a ways away from there still. But that's just my opinion. Will it work out? Like, is Mike the future at Florida State? Oh, excuse me, guys, I'm tired. But yeah, that's legitimately in question for me. But I don't so much doubt that he could get a quarterback in here all of a sudden and do it. I honestly believe if we had got Cam Ward instead of DJU, we're at least 4-1 right now. I don't know about this game, how it went, but we win those first 4 games, no doubt. If you get a Cam Ward, if you get this, if you get that. If you just got a mediocre quarterback who is a rusher, I think this offense would be on a complete different level because they can't back the guys out of the box with what they got. So what's the point? Like, again, I'm not trying to get wrapped up on the quarterback again, but it's on the coaches tonight, guys. That's who I'm with. Chris from Perry says, if he can win, people forget the losses real quick. The question is whether he can win. The real question at this point. The thing is, in 2021, you were 1-4 as well, but you had Jordan Travis for 2 more years. DJ's gone after this. Are we going to be starting back to square one every time we get a new quarterback? Because remember James Blackman and JT, and then remember McKinley, Milton, JT. Then we had JT for 2 years. Now we bring in DJU, and we're right back to 2021 with this offense. The defense is different. I think this is way better defense than we had back then, but the offense might be worse because JT would make some big plays. Like, you better hope SMU does really good this year, though, because that was an embarrassing loss. Very embarrassing. No, I didn't. Never. Not one. Never said it. I said it would. I said I thought it would have been a better fit for him at Florida State than Miami, because exactly what we saw last night against Virginia Tech. Personally, I am not a big fan of Cristobal as a head coach, but yeah, I was wrong about Mike and wrong about how good DJU could be. But I was all in on Cam Ward. I wanted Cam until it was like a month-long thing where, and he's going to go to the draft, and we like ran out of time. It was pretty much forced to somebody's going to have to commit, and DJU was begging for it. He was all in on it. That's why they made that decision. That's how it went down. So when that kind of happened, he tested the NFL free agency. or the NFL market and came back and signed to Miami. You can always look at hindsight. Okay, well, they should have ponied up, paid him whatever he was wanting at that time. It would have been worth it. But I just say Cam Ward because that was the two guys they were after. That's who they were down to deciding. It could have been anybody. It could have been Malik Murphy. It could have been this guy. It could have been that guy. But it would all have been better as you look at it. LSU Momo says we settled for DJ. I don't agree. Between Cam Ward and DJ, I guess you could say that maybe. But there was 20 other quarterbacks in the portal who are out there killing it right now. Who, like, that wasn't a settle. Like, DJU was way higher up, on the totem pole as far as, whatever rankings. So the evaluations early on were crazy. They turned a crazy roster around. We thought we had a baseline. You had all these senior offensive linemen coming back and things. Mike Norvell affected by the snub, whatever. The team affected by the snub. You bring in all these transfers that just didn't gel like they did the last couple of years. It's a combination of a ton of things. Ooh, the Miami fans are in here heavy. All right, a lot of trolling in the chat. Hey, I get it, man. But this thing's getting really close to being done. So right now is the time for your questions, your concerns, whatever. If you have a question, you have a take, get it off now. Warren Hill said Norvell is not a good talent evaluator. Period. Maybe not. I don't know. We got to go back to the drawing board and look at it all. Never will, little sister. 1-4, a fluke win over Cal. Good night. All right, there, Black Raider Steel. A Raider fan and a Miami fan. Lord have mercy. I bet that guy's fun to be around in public areas. Black Raider Steel. Lord have mercy. When I I'm sorry, coughing on the bullshit from that game, but no, when I seen the Miami fans that like stormed the field or like it drizzled onto the field, I'm thinking like normal basketball games, especially it's a lot of students that you have storm the court. College football games at FSU, sure you only have the student section and there's a lot of adults and things of that nature. But for the most part, what you get as FSU fans is like it's all a kind of a family. We're all a family. People want to look out for each other for the most part. You'll fight with Miami people or Florida fans that are in the fans, but it's like safe. I couldn't imagine a field storming at FSU and like somebody assaults a player, SAs somebody that's a staff on the side. It's a college type feel when stuff like that happens. But Miami, man, when you see them stand, Miami fan or not, you can. I don't care if y'all are sold out. It's different. It's like different. It's like rough looking people out there in them stands. And the Raiders, they just like you hear about people getting jumped and killed all the time. I can imagine being an NFL player and having like the Raiders fan base mosh down on me. Like you're gonna get the hell off of that field real quick. So I imagine that's kind of what that's what I was thinking when I saw Miami fans sprinting on the field. I thought that was pretty funny, but man, they they're a good team. I'll say that. Good for them. But yeah, I'm a Knoll till I die. But damn, this is pathetic, says LS Momo. Yeah, I feel you, man. I am too. It's hard to get the bigger picture and not do hyperbole and overreact every week. But the standard's the standard. This is FSU. It's year 5. There's no excuse for what's going on out there. There is no excuse. No excuses, guys. But anyways, we love you all. This has been the Voice of College Football post-game show, Instant Reaction Live. We started a little early tonight. Also simulcast over at the Renegade Report. If you're at the Voice of College Football, please go over there. Hit that sub. Hit the sub right here. Help us get to 6,000 subs. And stop in with us Wednesday. Me and Mark and hopefully maybe James or Chris will be there. We'll get to have a little chat about what happened. And get ready for Clemson, guys, because Clemson's going to be a bloodbath, boy. Blood bath. We got through the easy part of the schedule. This is a schedule we were supposed to run through and be undefeated before we lost 3 games. So 9.5. That was the Vegas. That's where they had it set. So you're pretty much Vegas thought we were going to lose 2 games. We might win 2 games, guys. It is what it is. But anyways, go Noles. Pray that they can. It's a mental block when they're right on the cusp of breaking through, and we can see that little bit of stuff that we saw in the first half catch on and move forward with some confidence. We've seen crazier things. We've seen teams finish strong after losing to Jacksonville State in 2021. So it's not all over, and the entire program isn't going to be blown up. There's still a lot of good things that have been done within the program, but Mike Norvell there's legitimate questions about needing to hand over play calling duties and bring in a coordinator, because the big picture and trying to get momentum for the team and trying to get this player to do that, he's lost sight of the here and now. He has lost sight of how to matriculate down the field and get guys in comfort. Either he's just a terrible match for DJU, or I don't know, maybe, he just is a fraud. I don't think that, but anyways, we'll figure it out. I'm not going to keep crying and moaning. We love you guys. We'll see you guys later. And yeah, it's a rough time for the Noles, but Nole till I die, baby. We'll be with the Noles till they stop playing football, but it's going to be a rough go of it this year, that's for sure.